Welcome to my new Level Up series. As you can see, a very specific background for it. So, effectively, compared to my usual content where I'm talking about personal growth and spirituality and society and politics and all sorts of deep introspective topics, these videos, if they've got this background or the thumbnail for the videos, they're more practical. So it's about maybe talk about the art of video creation. So maybe the equipment you use and maybe the way to style it, the way to present yourself, how we articulate, and also through the book process where I write my books. So I think it's just helpful. That's why I call it Level Up, really. It's a chance to help people who maybe on a similar path or they have an interest in that field. So I've done videos talking about the progress of my next book, how I've put it off over the past 6 months. And when I say put it off, it's not like a huge situation. I released Find Your Peace to Save Your Soul in August. And then I did some edits. I can't remember if that was last year. I think it was last year. I think I went through a lot of my books and actually edited a lot of them to bring them up to speed, really. So they're all on the same level because I wasn't happy with the fact that maybe my earliest book, A Father's Daughter, didn't have the same quality as like, in terms of grammar and things as the later books. So there has been a whole process. I have done audiobooks as well in the interim as well, and that's more than one. I was going through an awful lot of audiobooks last year to get them up to the same level. So I've been talking about the upcoming book, my next spiritual one. There's a lot of content to get through. It's a huge editing process, and I said I've put it off slightly. It could have come out sooner, and I've only just got back to it over the last few days. And I'm thinking, okay, we're like nearly the middle of, we're a third of the way through May. So if I set a deadline for maybe the end of June, July, that's fair and reasonable. I think that's attainable. That's a lot of work still, even with that, because I'm looking at how many chapters need doing. If we do one a day, for instance, that does, it's quite easy. 7 chapters, that's a week. Another 7 chapters, that's another week. All of a sudden, you are pushing all the way into mid June naturally just by doing one a day. And of course, then you have to go through the whole process again just to make sure everything's up to speed. Then we've actually got to format the paperback. So this is just the manuscript at this point. Then we've got to format the paperback. I have a title in mind. I don't have a cover yet. Haven't come up with a design of what I'm going to use. So that's another process that goes into it. So it's like it doesn't always just end with the writing and editing. There's other stages of the creation. So this might surprise people. I had a little bit of an epiphany last night, and I was like, well, that makes sense. I think procrastination is the enemy of most people. We put things off, we delay. It can literally extend and extend and extend. But when we are proactive, it's quite remarkable, really, what we can accomplish when we actually focus and prioritize. So something happened last night. My sleep pattern's all over the place, by the way. I'll go to bed at random times. I've been staying up quite late recently. It's just I don't know why. You can't force yourself to sleep. So sometimes I just watch some YouTube videos. It might be sports, it might be gaming, things like that. Something a bit lighter and different from what I do for the majority. And I just sat there and I thought I could play a game. So I played a game for a little bit and I enjoyed myself. And I thought, I can't sleep. I'm not in the mood to sleep. And it's like I could play something else. I thought, well, I don't. Well, what if I just edit the book again? I thought, it's a bit late for editing the book. It's like 3 in the morning. But I thought, might as well edit the book. So obviously shut everything down, chilling out. Just got me MacBook laptop on the bed, and I just started editing yet another. Bear in mind, I'd already done a chapter that day anyway. I'd done chapter in the evening. I'd finished a chapter. I'd done my chapter for the day at that point, and I just thought, well, might as well just do the next one, mightn't we? And I look, and I'm averaging. I think time can get away. Sometimes you might think it only takes you a short period. We can all go through that, can't you? You think, it didn't take long. And you look at the time, maybe it did take longer than you thought. But if we say on average, again, this is depending on maybe a 2,000 word chapter. I think that's worth considering how long the chapter is. But typically 2,000 words. I actually think between 1,000 words and 2,000 is a good chapter. I think less than 1,000 is pushing it. It's not really long enough. But anyway, the standards. So let's say it's 2,000 word chapter and it takes you about an hour and a half to 2 hours to edit it. Now, I could do it faster than that, but it's not a race. So I don't really care. If it takes longer, it takes longer. I'm just going through the process. I'm fine tuning it. And if I'm happy at the end, then it's great. And so, like I say, I did the chapter. And the one thing I would say about this process is sometimes you read something, you think, oh, that's great. And it ain't putting things on pedestals. People are going to judge at the end anyway. But I'm like, oh, I love that. I love that. I love the chapter the other day, and I just thought, oh, this is great. And in the back of your mind, yeah, we have a reality check. In the back of your mind, you're thinking, I don't know if the rest of the book's going to be as good as that chapter. And I do that with every book, by the way. Like, there's chapters I absolutely love. I always talk about it. Heal Your Mind to Free Your Soul, the chapter Children, forever my favourite chapter. But then I read books after that I've done, or even go back to my old books and ones before, and I'll read a chapter and I go, oh, that was great. But for some reason, the chapter Children just stays in my mind all the time. So that's like a flagship title, but a chapter of all of my books. But again, there's still quality chapters after or before. So I'm editing the book and I'm thinking, that was a great chapter. And then I'll go and edit another one and I'm like, ooh, that was good. That was good. And then I'm looking at the manuscript on my thing because you can, with the software I use, you can label them. You can put different color codes. So I do green to say it's finished. Usually it'd mean it's print quality, but at this stage, I'm just obviously going to I've got to get with the whole list and then I'll go through the whole lot yet again because I have to read it again. At that point, if I notice any sort of like misspelling or little mistakes, or if I think something could be taken out, because then you've got the full manuscript to sort of compare it to, then obviously I'll make some fine tuning. But at this point, maybe there's I think I've done about 5 or 6 chapters at this point, which is good because I've only been doing it for a couple of days. I'm like, oh, that's incredible. That's progress. And once you start seeing progress, it can literally it creates a habit. It inspires you, you know. So all of a sudden, something that started heavy is now rewarding. So it inspires us to want to sort of invest more, at least stay the course, stay consistent. So I say I'm reading the chapter. I'm like, that one's a great chapter. All right, let's sort this one out. By the end, after I've sorted it out, because they are a mess at this point, they are a jumble. Because this one is being created from transcript. But what I would say, so when I say transcript, it's like I've done hundreds of, if not thousands of videos at this point across various platforms. So I've tried to organize certain videos for this book, and I don't normally do that. My previous books weren't all about that. I prefer to write from scratch, but like I said in other videos, it doesn't make sense to put so much content to waste. There's no point me talking on a topic and then go, oh, wait a minute, I said something there and I forgot about that. So I'd rather have that as a baseline and then I'll work around it. And that's literally what I've been doing. So it's not a copy-paste situation because transcript's a mess. If anyone's seen a transcript of any video, it is absolutely chaos. It's actually more fun to write from scratch. But like I said, I don't want to miss something maybe I said, and it allows a framework. So it's like, I might as well do that. Either way, like if I was talking, like where I'm talking now, it's no different to me just sitting there typing away. The thoughts that go through my head that I relay through my voice is the same voice, and that I relay through my pen, through my typing. You know, it's the same thing. It's just that I can, with a book, I can sculpt it. I can take words out. I can vary it. I can sort of extend things. I can go into further detail. I can get rid of some mannerisms. You can literally fine tune a book. You can sculpt it if you like. So it's actually quite beautiful. But the process is the same thing. So like, this is why I do the videos. Really, it's to show people that it's not as like it is challenging to do a book, but don't beat yourself up if you can do 30 videos. If you could have the potential to record 30, maybe half an hour videos, 20, 30-minute videos, you've got a book. And I think so many people have books in them. So all I'm doing is using my own content, the things, original content that I created to help create these books. But what's happening, and I'm surprised myself, to be honest, because I didn't, this is the new process for me. What's happening is I'm obviously going through it, but I'm not actually 100% using the transcript. In fact, I'm not using. If you're talking verbatim, like word for word, I'm not. Because it's a mess. I can't work off it. It drives me nuts. So what's really happening now is I'm actually creating original content on the top of it. So effectively, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I can't edit that line. That's going to give me a headache. And I can't edit that. This paragraph's driving me nuts because the sentences are fragmented, words are missing, because that's the way transcript works. It's not like an exact science. So what's happening here is I'm leaving lines above it and I'm just typing fresh. So I'll go over it in my mind. I'll look and go, what was that one? Oh yeah, that's a good topic. Then boom, it's throwing me into and I'm just creating fresh content off of one little word or something. So one word or one sentence is inspiring something in me because I go, I'm going to talk about that. So this whole book isn't even transcript at this point. This is literally just inspired by the videos. So yeah, it is fresh. So yeah, in my mind, I thought I was just going to edit transcript, and it's not. I'm literally writing fresh from that, but it's making the process easier. In that sense. So anyway, we're doing that, and then of course I'm editing it as I'm writing it. So I'm writing it fresh again, but I'm editing it live. Boom, 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 boom. I don't really like mess, to be honest. I can't operate. My mind doesn't operate with mess. It actually it'll drive me insane. And I've always been like that with all my books. I can't just move on to a chapter knowing that that is a mess on the other side of that because I'm gonna have to do it anyway. So a lot of people say write your manuscript and then don't worry about anything. Just get it on paper and then edit. And that'll work for some people. It just doesn't work with me. I have to edit it. I have to edit it. And I get what they're saying. Don't let your mind stop because if you're being creative, let that creativity flow. But yeah, my mind's just different. That's why I want people to work at their own pace and do it their own way. So, like I say, I've just done. I sit like 3 in the morning. I'm sitting there typing away till about 5 in the morning. It was crazy. I'm like, God damn. But I was excited after because I thought that's progress, man. You've literally. I know it's a separate day realistically because we've now crossed over, but it's like it's still morning. It's still like late at night, isn't it? So in my mind, I've done 2 that day. 2 chapters. And I thought, okay, that was good. Because I didn't start the day till late. I got up pretty late yesterday, the day before that on Sunday, because I'd gone to bed so freaking late the day before that one. Today I've rose at a decent time, so it's like, that's great, because I've got the day ahead. So what I've decided to challenge myself, now I'm not saying it's practical, but challenge is a challenge. And it won't devalue the work, so that it doesn't reduce the quality. I'm still aware of how hard it's going to be. So I wouldn't say that because this is still, like I said, this is still like a month and a half's worth of work. If you're doing one a day, a chapter, for instance, I'm going to try. And I was thinking I could try and get this book done by the end of May. That gives me a few weeks. When's the end of May? I think it's 2.5 weeks, is it? End of May is actually nearly 3 weeks. 1, 2, 3. Nearly 3 weeks. I'm going to try and get this book done in a week. I'm actually going to try and do it in a week. So once I've done this video, it's unlikely I'll do any more videos this week because I'm just going to I'd say hell for leather, but it's not hell for leather. I'll be doing 2 hours, roughly 2 hours per chapter if we're talking like that. There are some longer chapters I've skipped through. There's some very, very big chapters that I've got to go through. There'll obviously be a longer process. But overall, let's say it's 2 hours. Then I'll take a break because your hands start hurting when you're typing. And your body needs a break. It needs to move. So there'll be like a 2 hours of this, maybe a break of that, relax, and then straight into another 2 hours. And then it's amazing what you can do when you think about it. Like I was thinking, if you can it's a push. You can get 5 chapters done a day, and I reckon I could even do more because I'm up late. If I end up waking up at a reasonable time, that gives so much hours. So imagine that. If I just inspired myself. I just thought, wait a minute, if you could get 5 or 6 done in a day, you could have I could have the manuscript edited within the week by Sunday night, by Monday morning, whatever you want to call it. And obviously, at that point, you'd need to have a chance to go through it again. But by that point, you're not really going through it again deeply. It's just like you're just reading it like someone else would and just picking out little bits for the most part. But I think if we're talking about like pre-final edit, which when I say the final edit, it's not like huge edits at that point. Like I said, I'm already editing the life out of it on the way down. But yeah, I think we can get it done there. And then effectively, the book could be published by the end of sort of that week, providing I've done a cover and things. So, and that's how I operate. I don't waste time. If I'm a go-getter, if I've got something in my mind, it has to get done. So, for instance, you might think, oh, he hasn't done the cover yet. I can have that done in a couple of hours, a cover design. So, and this isn't me boasting anyway. I'm just trying to show people the difference between procrastination and stagnation, and just going for it. It's the same thing. If you're thinking about writing a story and you just keep delaying it, you may never write that story. But if you just start working on it now, okay, you might take a break and you might just come back in a couple of months. But effectively, you at least, like, let's say for a year, you may have a book in a year. Even if you do that, stop, start, have a little idea here, a little bit. In a year, you might have a book. But if you don't do anything today, or tomorrow, or in a week, or 2 weeks, whatever, and you don't start the process, you may never start the process, So it's always like, I feel I've delayed enough, and I just want the book done. And again, what I've said in other videos is I don't like things in my way. I like to be free to explore other opportunities if they come. So let's say your career opportunities expand and you're free, when you've got projects on your mind and you think it's like, you're not so free. It's like, I want that freedom. I want that freedom. Like I said, got other projects to do after, but it's not like it's urgent. As long as I've done what I set out for the year, that's what I'm like. If I set a goal for the year, I achieve it. I don't miss anything. So where I say I delayed this one, it wasn't necessarily a delay though. I'd already done my targets for the year. I just pushed an extra target, and in the end, I was like, I don't care. It wasn't what I wanted, so I was like, I'm going to do it next year because last year I'd already done Find Your Peace to Save Your Soul. And I always say I only really want to do one book a year anyway. I've got other things. We end up doing. There's always other goals around the year. It's not just books. And then I end up doing an audio book as well. I usually record that in about a week, an audio book. I just sit down and just focus, get a certain amount done per day, and then I just get through it. Might take slightly longer, like just over a week sometimes. Depends how committed I am to it. But that's another process on top. So, of course, once the book's done and that publishes as a paperback and an ebook, I may do a hardback. I'm not sure. I probably will because all my other books I've adapted to hardback now as well. So, hardback, paperback, ebook. And then I'll likely a week after or so, I'm probably just sit down, or maybe even just, there's no guarantee it comes straight out. I may just sit down and record the audio book as well. So, yeah, that's another process to add to it as well. But yeah, it'd be shocking how fast these things can happen. I just got excited, to be totally honest. So once I'm excited, it's a good place to be. You don't want to throw yourself off, self-defeating, start giving yourself, oh, this is going to be a heavy one. I don't want to feel like that. I'm just going to go into it and go, right, this is my attitude. It's like I look at it and I think I'm going to turn this mess into a masterpiece. That's what I'm thinking straight away. Right, this is chaos. Move it out of the way a minute. Let's make some spare spaces above it. We're going to just type fresh because I can't look at that shit. That's what I do. It's too much of a mess, and my mind I can't filter through the mess like that. It's like I can't just jumble it all together. I have to just go fresh. It's just too much. That would take me longer. If I was actually editing the transcript, if I was editing it and that was the only focus, then it would take me a lot longer because you're trying to unjumble the mess. It's like, I can't be bothered. Let's just talk. Because everything I've done on video is from myself anyway. It's original source from me. So as soon as I hear something, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. I'll just talk about it fresh again. Fine. Then I'll go back down. I might think I'm finished, and I might read for a little bit longer and go, oh, there is a little bit there I could add. Okay, I'll address that situation as well. Let's quickly add that to the end. For me, it's working. Like I said, I've done 5 chapters, but all of them are the same quality as the previous ones, So for me, that got me excited because, like I said, it's a bit like music. Are you just a one-hit wonder, which is great, because if you can create a masterpiece, one track, that's fantastic. People get criticised all the time for that. You think, oh, is that all you've done? You've only sings the same song over and over again. At least they've got a song to sing. Too many people, they're too critical of other people. At least they created something, So, I'm really proud of all my books, but I'm also proud of the chapters. Because that's really important. There's no point having one great chapter in a book and the rest is just fodder. There'd be no point publishing the book then, wouldn't there? So for me, it's been great that so far the chapters have met my expectations. That's great. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, I'll provide an update when it's either if it's finished or where I am maybe this time next week. If unless I'm really close to finishing, then I'll just finish it, of course. Because there are later chapters, there are things for me to work through. Effectively, I've got at this point it's 330,000 words that I need to get down to about 80,000 words. So at the moment, the idea is I need to obviously get to that stage. So there's some real long chapters at the end that I've got to go through, like deep, really, really long, like heavy as hell. And it's going to be deciding whether, do I take them out and put them in a separate book next time, which obviously speeds up the process, or do you really go through it and chop a lot off just to get it all down? And I'll figure that out. At the moment, my response is I'd rather have as much in this book as possible. I don't really want to start spreading it out because it wasn't the plan. So we'll see we'll see what happens. I just really wanted to provide an update really to people, and I hope it doesn't come across in any way as sort of arrogance or anything. I just want to inspire people to pursue their dreams, and show them how I operate. Maybe it'll inspire them to really push on. Take that extra step, take a few steps, but speed up a little bit. As I say, it's never a race. It's no point comparing to other people. I haven't done that at all on my journey. Never have. I've seen people like I've been on different platforms. I don't, I get fed up with social media. So when I released A Father's Daughter, I did it very much on my own. It was it was my first solo, it was my first writing project. It was quite daunting, but I just got on with it. I knew I can document what happened in my life, and I'll do it. So I just did it, and I was immensely proud. Then I went on to sort of Twitter, which is now obviously X, and I met like a writing community. It was really nice. People that supported each other, even people that weren't writing. They just started to hear my story a little bit, and they were being supportive. That was really nice. But inevitably, there's people who posture themselves as superior than everybody else. They start to add um, sort of criteria to be considered an author. You must have done this, you must have done that. And it's like, who makes you the authority on it? It was ridiculous. So there are some people, this is what I'm just saying, this is what I want people to understand. It's like, don't worry about what people say. You do you. It works. They can compare all they like. They can posture. Eventually, you may have a collection of your own. So what some people were saying was, firstly, let's say this: unless you have multiple manuscripts on the go, you're not a real author. And I thought, what the hell are you talking about? If you just do one book, you're an author. Who are you to say that you're not valid if you only do one book in your lifetime? That's a freaking special achievement. Don't diminish someone's achievements. And who are you to say that in the first place? That annoys me. But they were really, really arrogant, and sometimes it upset people. Some people that aren't as resilient. It made them feel inferior. It made them question their work or even their worth. I didn't like that. So of course I'm trying to support people. Um, I'm quite outspoken anyway. So that was one of the things that bothered me, is the way people are saying, if you don't work at this rate or you don't have that, it's like no, that's ridiculous. Of course, once you've done one book, you do feel when you meet a community of other authors or writers, it is a bit I wouldn't say intimidating, but you don't feel as successful. Like, I've done one book, they've got a collection of books that you're just looking, thinking, I'd love to have a collection one day. That'd be so cool, just to have like multiple books. You're looking, thinking that's an achievement, because you know how hard it was to do the first book, the challenge it took to overcome. Like I say, you've got various stages to create these things. So it's like, wow, for you to go to you to keep pushing yourself to do it time and time again, that's incredible. Like, that's how I recognized. So, of course, for me to do the same, I've got to update the picture soon, because there's 6 there. Once this 7th one comes out, we'll have to just do a new image. But yeah, there's 6 books at the moment. I just have only got 4 on the image. So that's really cool for my collection. And then one of the other things, of course, that people say is you can't edit your own work. And I think the real problem, people are stuck in tradition. They're stuck in a way of working that appeases others. And it's like, I don't operate like that. You tell me I can't do something, I'll find a way to do it. It's just, that's what I'm like. I'll do my own thing. I don't care if it's approved, if it's that standard way of doing things. I don't care what it is. It's like, I'll follow my own. I'll beat to my own drum, sod tradition. So that's literally what I've been doing. That's what I do. So I do it all myself. I've shown videos the tools I use, such as Grammarly, which is like a live editor. It's the same as like a spell checker. If you add spell checker in Word or something, it just goes a little bit deeper. It just helps sort out your grammar a little bit more, and maybe it'll give you opportunities to pick a different word. It doesn't always pick the best word, and sometimes it messes up a sentence. You'd think, I'm not doing that. Like, you're taking this word out because maybe it looks smart, but you've just lost just one word. Literally, one small little word could alter the entire fabric of the sentence. And so it might suggest it, and you'll go, no way, I'm not taking that out, because now it doesn't even make sense. So you do have to use your own intelligence when you're discerning, sort of like filtering out what's good and what's not. But that tool does work, and it's helpful, and I'll stand by that. Some people might think, oh, that's cheating. It's not cheating. It's no different to a person handing it to a person who then goes off and how do you know what they do with it? You give it to an editor. Let's say they cost you thousands of pounds, because they do. An editor costs a lot of money. And you've got to wait weeks, months for them to come back to you. And it's going to be a relay between them. They'll give you the notes back. You go back. I don't need someone to tell me anything about like the direction of my work. I don't need any of that. I can just do it myself. I don't need all that nonsense. I like things to be my own craft. So there's like an independence and maybe a hyper independence. Either way, I don't need all that nonsense I don't need people touching it. That's the thing. Just leave me alone. This is my work, 100% me. I chose everything. It's like, this is me. So it's no different, because, like, let's say you sent it to an editor. How do you know what tools they use to edit it? You're just assuming they're so intelligent they can just see everything on a page, and some of them are incredible. Like their English language literature levels are through the charts, but some are not. I don't, you can't guarantee how they go about editing it. So they could easily be. You could end up giving it to someone, pay thousands of pounds, and they're using the same tools you could use yourself. to This is the part. This is why I talk so openly about it, though. Is that I want people to understand you don't have to have the best grasp of the English language, like in terms of grammar, your punctuality, all these little things. You don't have to be great at that. There's tools that can help you. The biggest part is being able to tell your story in the first place. Because at the end of the day, the words are meaningless. How you put where you place a comma, the choice of words, all these things are just meaningless in the end if you've got no story to tell. The hardest part is telling the story. So an editor, for instance, you might think, oh, they're the most important piece. And they might think they're the most important piece. But unless someone's got work to provide them, what have they got to edit? The most important piece is the writer in the first place. And then it's up to you how you want to produce your work. You don't owe it to an editor to give it to them. They might feel entitled to it, but that's not your problem. So there might be editors out there that get frustrated. Oh, they're using Grammarly. Well, that's not my problem. I just don't have the patience to go through you, and I'd rather just do it myself. Thank you very much. And what that's done, in honesty, what that's done for me using that app is it's elevated my own natural ability too. So maybe like at the beginning, maybe you're slightly lazy with your placement of commas and the choice of words or the way you use this, and eventually you use it enough, you're preempting it before you even go to the app. You already know, oh yeah, I better place that there, better place that. So you're actually growing your skill base. Pretty cool. So yeah, the point there is don't let people detract you from progress, because there'll always be people who tell you should do it this way, you should do it that way. My attitude is do it your way. Forget it. Do it your way. You don't have to mirror or copy someone. Just what works for someone else may not work for you. So if you pressure yourself to mirror someone else, you may find it's too heavy and you just can't do it. But if you free yourself to do it your way, all of a sudden you might find it flows. So there's no point like attaching yourself to my style, because it doesn't. The pressure I put myself under might be just too much. It might make it. It might just become so much that it's intolerable. But again, I don't do things to impress. I do it because it works for me, and I just want to free myself. So let's say, for instance, I'm not saying this is the case, but let's say because I like to put things in practical sense. Let's say, for instance, I want to play video games. Let's just say I want to play a video game, and you just feel constantly this book's in the way. So let's say I want to play a game, and I'm thinking, oh, but you haven't done your book. You've got to get your editing done. You've got to get your editing done. Oh, every time you're trying to play it, it's in the back of your mind. I've still got to fit this set. I've still got to fit this book in. I've still got to fit this book in. So then maybe you start working on the book, and you're thinking, oh, I could be doing that instead of this. So effectively, the book's in the way. The book's in the way of a task you want to do, and it's always there. It's always in the way, and it's going to be in the way for the foreseeable future. Because if you're doing let's say you do one chapter a day, now that nagging feeling is continuous throughout. So wait a minute. What if we just say, look, nah, no fun. We're just going to get rid of fun for a minute. That ain't ideal, because who wants to lose that? Who wants to lose the fun? But what if instead of keep having stop, start, and it's just in the way all the time, why not just pause everything else, get this done, and then you can do what the hell you want after, like for forever. You can do what you want. It's finished. That's how my mind works. So it's more a case of, it's just pragmatic to me. It just makes sense. It's like, wait a minute. Why don't we just sacrifice, get this thing finished, and then we're done for the year? Because I'm literally done for the year, but project-wise, yeah. If I decide to release another book later in the year, that's because I'm inspired to go back and get on with more books. If I don't feel inspired, I'll I'll go back again in the spring next year. How I've done every book. Most books have been done in the springtime, summer-ish, around about spring really. April, around about March usually work doing April, usually May release. So it'd be interesting if this one comes out May, June. Some of them are July as well. So that's usually the periods. So yeah, this one's still on point. And like I say, then it frees me up just to enjoy the rest of the year, and I've still been successful. So rather than keep smashing your stop-starting your days, which I think you lose momentum a little bit. If you're going into it doing one chapter here, one chapter there, one chapter here, one chapter there, and you might lose momentum because it might just get feeling like it's always in the way. So now it's just a frustration. But I think if you just commit a period of time to it, it's just part of your routine, and then you're like dedicated, you know. So hopefully this has been helpful to people. So I'm going to try and smash it this week. I'm really going to try. I've got a lot of chapters to get through, so don't believe me. There's over. I think there's a lot. I haven't counted them, but just looking, I think there's over 30 chapters left to do. And like I said, some of them are absolutely huge. But if I can get, see what I'm saying, huge, but that they're going to be. Some of them are like there's a couple of chapters, or at least a section of the book. There's going to be. It'll be like, at least like, it may even be a day or two of just editing that one. That's how big it is. So if I get to that, before I get to that phase, if I can get majority of the other ones done, then who knows what's possible. So if I can get 5 or 6 done in a day, just imagine how fast that manuscript just starts getting green markers on it. Green. The next day, green. That's far better than just green today, green tomorrow, which is fine. This is what I'm saying. I don't want to make people feel pressured here. Finishing this book, 1 chapter each day by the end of June, that's an incredible target. That's great. Even if you said, "Oh, I want to do a chapter every other day," like for instance in editing and stuff, and you're going to go, "I'm going to release it around about August." That's still great, you know. And that's what I try and say to people: just set your own targets. With me, I'm just an impatient person. I don't operate in a slow pace. It drives me nuts because I want my freedom. I'm all about justice and freedom in my life and things like that, integrity and things. But freedom is everything. I don't like feeling stuck. So I have to free myself. Sometimes the only way to free yourself is to work faster. Just be efficient. Um, but yeah, that's the other thing as well. Like I talk to people. So I come across a few people in life who have an ambition to do a story, to write a book. And I always say everybody's got a book in them because we all got a life story at the bare minimum. We've all got a life story to tell. So and everybody has the capacity if they push themselves to do a book. No one's saying you've got to do it in a year. Could take you 2 years. Could take you 5 years. But on the basic level, when you break it down, it's not so intimidating. I keep saying this, a book is around about 60 to 80,000 words. Some people create books that are 15,000 words. It's not a traditional book. It'll be a very thin book. Like if you don't write very well, or you don't have the capacity to expand upon in depth your life or little sections, then your book may be really thin. If you're happy with that, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that for me, I'm not. I've always felt like I want substance, and then I'm proud because I know it's a full book. Then I know I've done an actual book. I don't want to diminish someone else's thing, but it's like I just think everyone has the capacity to do a full book. It's just it can be intimidating. Sometimes you just got to push yourself to add layers, and don't be so like, oh, I can't do anything else. You can just got to expand. Think what you're missing here. Don't make it so short. But anyway, so we say 60 to 80,000 words, and you're thinking, if you can do 1,000 words a day, now I know it's a lot for some people because I've come across people who struggle. But I'm just saying on average, let's say you do 1,000 words a day, that's 30,000 words a month. Well, that's half the book. So if we then do another pace of that at the next month, we've done 60,000 words. So effectively, I said 60 to 80,000 is a book. If you want to make 60 is more than fine. If you can get to 80,000, great. Then maybe you've got another half a month. But either way, you've got the capacity there to write a book at 1,000 words a day. You can do a book in 3 months. Stands to reason. Of course, you've got editing process as well. Depends if you edit as you go or do an edit at the end. So, of course, different time frames. If you're an edit as you go like I do, then you haven't got so long to edit at the end, maybe a week. If you're someone that doesn't edit at all, it's an absolute mess. You're going to have a hard time editing it at the end. You might think you're finished. You've got a whole process to go through next. I don't really like that. But again, each their own. It might be too overwhelming to write and edit. But again, there's no right or wrong. I'm just trying to show the how fast and swift things can be achieved and the fact that it's not unattainable. Now, I came across someone who had different ideas for books. It was novel, so it was different to what I'm doing. In a workplace, this was, but they was always like working on different manuscripts and never finishing anything. So I told them, like, I've done my books, and I said I've been like that a little bit myself. And in the end, you just got to focus on one because you're better off having one book finished that you've actually got something tangible in your hand rather than all these concepts and ideas you never finish anything. I said, so if I was you, just pick something that you really, really committed to, something that really, really interests you, so you can actually fulfill it, and then you'll be so proud. And it's up to you then if you want to do more or not. And this person, it was a bit overwhelming for them at first, but they could see how I operate and the fact that I was just like, I was a go-getter. At this point, I was doing a university course while I was working full time, even doing overtime. So I was doing like 60 hours a week at work. I'm trying to do like 18 hours or whatever of university study because it's like distance learning with the Open University. And I'm also writing my books. In the end, it was too much for me. I was pushing myself way too hard. The course wasn't really doing me any good. It wasn't really my interest in the end. So I didn't really care about getting a degree anymore. But I could have done if I focused on that solely. But I'd rather have my books and things. But anyway, they could see how hard I was pushing myself. You're still achieving this, you're doing that, you're doing this. Like if I can do all that, they can at least do that, even though we're both working. But 1,000 words for them was too hard. Like they said it themselves. They just said they don't have they don't have the same intellect as me. Like their mind doesn't work as fast as my mind does. And it wasn't like them berating themselves. It was just an awareness that they struggle. So that's what they said. They struggle to do it. They can't do 1,000 words a day. They said at best I do like 500. Sometimes like 250. I was like, okay, what's wrong with that? Don't beat yourself up about it. No one's saying you've got to do that. Who says you've got to have it done in a month? I said, just because I work at this speed, it's gonna happen. You don't have to mirror that. Even if you're just doing, if you can push it to 500, that's incredible because you just double the time. A book that takes me 2 months, maybe 3 months, it would just take you 4 months to 6 months. How's that bad? You can do that. If you decide you can't do that and you want to do 250 words a day, okay, your 4 to 6 months has now been extended to a year. You still got a book in a year. Isn't that not incredible? So anyway, later on, he come to me and just said, I've been really focusing now. I've been taking time. I said, that's cool. I said, great, that's good. And he said, like, I'm getting up early in the morning. I'm doing like an hour or so before work. And I'm like, really getting this out now and I'm really making progress. I was like, that's cool. Because obviously we all work in different time frames, different patterns. When's the best time to work? Before work isn't really when I would operate, but I can't do that. I don't give myself enough time to wake up. It's like I'm usually like quite running around like a lunatic in that situation. But that was how they were working. And then when I left the job, they sent me a private email maybe a few months later, and they just said they want to just let me know they finished the book, they've published it, they sent me a link, and they just they said thank you for all the encouragement and everything. You helped me really. If it weren't, I don't want to put praise to myself. This is just what they said. They said if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have done it. And I thought that's nice. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you come into people's lives and it's enough of a jolt for them to achieve something that's a milestone for the rest of their life. Now I didn't do the work, but I inspired them to get on with doing it. But yeah, the praise goes obviously to them. They're the ones that did the work. I didn't do it. It's amazing what you can accomplish, if you just push yourself, and that's what they did for themselves. And it's up to them now whether they decide to go off and do more books or not, or whether that was enough of a task. Because the goal's set. That's what I say. Even if you got one hit wonder, who cares? No one said you've got to do multiples of anything. It's like at least you've achieved a life goal, and I think that's a huge thing. So don't diminish something. Jeez, too many people are like that, always comparing and always competing, and I just never understand that. It's like your goals are not someone else's goals. Leave them alone. At least they've done something that the majority of people haven't. Something should be said about that. So yeah, this is why I shared my story. I don't share it to sort of go, oh, look at me do this today. I'm doing it to show people how I'm doing it. And then it's up to them to implement however they see it in their own life. But I really want to show people that you can do things away from tradition. You don't have to do things the way it's done in the past or the way everybody else behaves. It's like, just do your own thing. I don't think my quality's worse. So of course, someone hears you, let's say this person that was on social media, I'm not on there anymore and things, but let's say they were like, absolutely, you can't edit your work. That's outrageous. They obviously would then go and look through my work and they would try and find every problem you could possibly find just to nitpick at it. And it's like, that's not a true reflection of the quality of the work, though. You're trying to find problems. You try and find a problem of anything, you find it. So that's just not being fair at all, is it? That's not even reasonable. But like, I think if you go through the majority of my work, that I think the quality is good enough. I think it's great. So yeah, it's to each their own, and that's what I just want to show people. Is you don't have to do it. Same way I do publish it myself. Now a lot of people say, "Oh, self-published work's terrible. It's such poor quality." I agree. There is some poor quality out there because people have no standards. That's a real problem. Some people pump out books because they see it as a moneymaker, so they really don't care. They'll just throw it out, throw it out, throw it out. So they diminish the quality of the rest of everybody's work in terms of like what people expect. They devalue their work by pricing it so cheap. I don't. But the problem is it sets a marker really that an expectation within the industry where people expect everything so eat so freely, so cheap, and I just think I'm not devaluing myself, so I will set myself apart. Try and be as fair as I can. But at the end of the day, I've sacrificed a lot, and I deserve to be rewarded for that sacrifice. And not only the sacrifice, I've bared my soul onto the books. I'm literally giving everything I know to the world to help heal and improve other people's lives. And I feel like I should be rewarded for that fairly. Sure, should you know what I mean? It stands to reason. It's not just like the fact that I've sacrificed time to do it. I've actually bare my soul. I've given a fragment of myself. So I think it's fair. I think it's reasonable to say something should be so cheap. Is that's disrespectful. So I won't disrespect myself. Um. So yeah, there is. And again, you could argue that's something outside the box as well, isn't it? You're going against the mainstream. Someone might say, "Where's your book? What shop's it in?" It's not in the shop. Well, why is it not in the shop? Because I don't want to appease a publisher by trying to suck up to them to try and influence them to try and get them to sort of take my book on board. So they print it and sell it in the shop. I can't be bothered with none of that nonsense. I just want to create and move on. I just want to create and move on. I ain't got time for that. Oh, I'm not interested. There's too many politics around it. I'd rather be a free spirit. Just do it myself. It works. You know, I can do this. It's just fine. I get more per book than I would from any publisher. The only difference with a publisher is they can get it into a wider audience because they have bigger reach. So, for instance, someone's walking through the airport, your book could be there. That's great because that's how you can sell your books. I can't do that. You know, someone maybe walking down a high street or a shopping centre, a mall. You know, maybe you walk into a bookshop, you go and see some books, and you might see books on a similar topic to mine. Mine's not there. That's frustrating because I feel mine should be there. Um, what can I do about it? I can't. But what I get royalty per book is far higher than they would give me. So that's the difference. So, for instance, if we're going to talk like, I would talk about while I'm talking, I can talk about it. I can't remember exactly the royalties at the moment, but I do want something fair. So I get, based on my books, I get about £4 per book, which I think is incredibly good. Like, that's what I want. So it's not, I'm not pricing the books to be um, greedy. I'm not trying to go, oh, I'll try and go as high as I can. I want as much money from everybody. It's not. I just want I want a reasonable fee from my books. So, I understand, like maybe someone spent, you bought every book, it's cost you, I don't know, because there's quite a few books. So let's say 6 books. I don't know the numbers. But you've spent all that money because you built an awful lot of knowledge from that book. But the way I see it is if everybody bought all my books at the present ones, because obviously there's 6 books, I would probably have about, from that person, from having all my books, £20. And I think that's a lot of knowledge I've given. I think I should have more than £20 if someone's absorbed that much knowledge. But I can't control the print costs. I can't control the fact that mine's distributed through Amazon primarily, for instance. So Amazon take a cut of royalties. But it's more fairer than it would be for a traditional print. So the point there is I get about £4 a book. If I was getting it through a traditional publisher, they may only pay me 50 pence, 20 pence a book. So you're getting £4 myself by doing it my own way, or you can get far less through a traditional publisher, but it's in more outlets. So of course you're going to sell a lot more copies, at least early on, and you've got the potential to earn far more just through vast numbers. But if you had those same numbers, for instance, and people were buying it where you were selling it, you're going to make an awful lot more money than a publisher could give you. Plus, but then the publishers, sometimes they can give you an injection of money early on to help you. So like where I'm in poverty, like I'm struggling like crazy and it's really not easy. But if a traditional publisher would maybe took me on board, maybe they'd give you an upfront fee and it would help ease my expenses, my lifestyle, my costs, and I can have that. I have that base to make it. So there's obviously swings and roundabouts with this. I'm happy enough doing it my way. Doesn't mean I wouldn't work for a publisher in the future if someone approached and they've got ideas or something. But for the most part, I'm happy enough doing my own thing, to be honest. It's a slower process, but I just think in the end, it could be, you would expect it to be really rewarding. And the good thing about that, of course, is if you chose to, the more books you have, the more you can sort of like take more risks with one. Like you can drop the price, you can test this out, you can even increase the price of one if you just, because obviously the whole point is you want to be able to be profitable, you want to be able to make some, do well with what you've created, and you deserve it. But again, I don't want to make it so it's impossible for people to purchase anything because I want them to be able to have the opportunity to heal. But yeah, you just got to keep up with the market, really. So if the cost of living increases, of course, you're thinking on that side, I need money because I need to survive. At the same time, you're thinking, I don't want to put added pressure on someone who's struggling too because I know what it's like to struggle. So don't make something unaffordable. So there is a balance. Again, that's the whole business side here. So I'm sharing slightly of that, the business side of what goes on here. Um, so don't. The point there is, don't feel inferior if your book isn't in a bookshop. Don't worry about it. It would be an incredible achievement. I've no doubt about that. So when someone says I've got a publishing deal, I've got this, it's like, well done, like clap. That's incredible. Well done. Like to get, because that's really rare to get approved by a publisher, because you have to go through a literary agent, so someone who represents people like writers. And then they have to sort of like scout it out. Really, they'll have a network of publishers they work with, and they'll know the niche market. So there'll be a market for like different things, whether you do fantasy novels, whether you've got fiction, non-fiction, all these different things. And if there's a market for what you're doing, there'll be someone that wants it. So they'll know, they might have a good connection. And it'd be like, if you say J.K. Rowling, I don't know her whole story, but let's say she's got a writing agent, and that agent knows a few publishers, and one's really looking for something that's like for something for kids, children, or young teens. And it's like a fantasy. They were looking for something like a new grand fantasy or something. And then she comes along. It's like, boom, you've just fit that niche they were looking for. And they're in this. All of a sudden, her world changes, because the audience is that the publishing house, they were aware of what the audience is looking for. They know what people are wanting. And all of a sudden, it fit that niche, and they were right. Boom. It's a unison of all the things. So when someone gets a publishing deal, you do think there's no jealousy on my part. It's like, that's an incredible achievement. Well done. Because and the stages they've had to go through, because you have to submit your work. They'll have a criteria, how many words. So you have to give a sample of your work. Then you'd have to give sort of a blurb, a synopsis of what that book's about. Maybe go chapter by chapter. All these stages. I haven't got the patience for this shit, man. I can't do it. I just don't want to. My very first book of Father's Daughter I did because I just thought that was the way we do books, So I sent it off. I sent a section to an agent, and look, they could have just been being polite. You don't know. I'm not saying I hold this to my heart, because you don't know. They might have just been kind because that's what they're like. But they said like it was really well written. They could feel the emotions with it, but they just feel it's a bit too niche. And in all honesty, it was niche because I didn't write it for everybody. I wrote it to document what happened personally in my life. And initially it was just for me anyway. And then I just thought, I think this could help people going through something similar. So then I'm thinking, I'm going to publish it. So I never wrote it with the idea that it would affect millions and millions would be interested. I get that. It's niche. It is niche. That's not something I expect millions to be invested in. But at that point, I just thought, I can't be bothered with this, because it takes a while for them to get back to you. And like I said, the whole process, that's not for me. That's not for me. Like I said, if someone approaches me and they've got in that field, then I'll listen. But there's no guarantee I'd accept, because I know my value. I wouldn't let someone undervalue. I wouldn't sell my rights. There's all these sort of things. I'm too smart for this shit. So if someone come in, for instance, and it looked like this massive, great offer, but there's stipulations and things that I don't agree with, I'll turn it down. I don't even care. You could offer me millions and I'll still say no, because I know my value. I know my value. So, yeah, that's the thing. If it's something's fair, that's all I ask for, something fair. I'm not a greedy person, but it's got to be fair. And I know my value. So if people want to come in with low balls and try to make it look like, especially when you're at your lowest, like you say, they know you're struggling financially, you're in poverty. Oh, okay. We'll offer this, and then they'll take it because they really need it. It's like, you're going to find a swift no, because I don't care. I've always got a long term mind. I'm not going to give up huge rights or huge this just to get myself out of a situation now and then be suffering later. That's never going to happen. Plus, I'm someone that's all about integrity and justice. So if someone tries to take advantage of me at my lowest point, I'm not going to have any respect for them anyway. Don't treat people different just because of their circumstances. I always say that. I'm far superior than my bank balance. So don't treat me any less than just because I don't have at the moment, because I respect myself too much. So that's the thing I would say, is if anyone ever tries to approach me, you better come correct. Otherwise you will get the door slammed in your face. It's like that, and I don't care. So that's the only thing. I'm fair with people, but you better be fair with me. Otherwise, yeah, you've lost the opportunity. And I don't really do things twice over. So if someone comes to me, tries to take advantage, it doesn't work out for them, and then they try and come back later and go, "Oh, sorry about that." It's like, I've already lost respect for you, so don't, I don't trust you anymore. So I don't, just leave it, just leave it. But anyway, that's the different side. That's the business side. I think you have to have that resilience. You have to have that belief in yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to get taken for granted anyway. Because there's illusions. Some things that just seem so great. Someone offers you £1,000,000. You got to think to yourself, if they're offering me a million, then what are they looking for? How much do they think it's worth? Do you see what I mean? So like, it's like I'm always looking longer. No one's offering you 1,000,000 if they don't think they're going to recoup that and more. So if they're thinking, oh, we can make loads from this, it's like, well, then maybe I'm thinking, well, I don't need you. I can make loads from this. But that doesn't mean that's how my mind works. I still understand business. It's all about, sometimes it is about connections, and it is about working together, and you can achieve an awful lot more. But I won't sort of like forego my integrity, and I definitely will never give up the rights to my work. That would never happen. I've always said that before. If someone offered me millions to remove my books, for instance, let's say my books are a threat to their power and dominance, and they're like, you know what, I'll give you I'll give you $20 million to remove the books that they never existed. And let's say my books are only like to make me like 50 grand in my lifetime over the rest of my life altogether. Yeah, maybe they never sell, and someone offers you $20 million to remove them. I'd say no. Most people would jump at it, but money isn't the barometer of my success. That's not what success is. So you can't take money with you when you die. Money isn't your legacy. What I've done with the time I have is forming the legacy I leave behind. It's what will help the next generation. And you can leave money, but that'll expire. That'll diminish. But the work I do, even if it's not appreciated in this lifetime, it may be appreciated in another lifetime. Maybe it won't, but I won't. I would never do that. It's priceless. Can't be bought in that sense. But anyway, hopefully other people feel that same attachment to their own work, and maybe they'll have their own projects to work on, and they'll be in a similar position where they have the choice because it's literally their work, their creation. It's a beautiful place to be, I think. Anyway, don't want to keep going on because we've really lost a substantial amount of my editing time. In fact, we've lost the opportunity here. The whole video, I'm not saying that because I have to take breaks between edits anyway. So there's no point like doing something and then going, what a waste of life. That's not. Hopefully it served a purpose. It helps. But overall, yeah, if we do it time-wise, we're an hour nearly in. That would have been predominantly about 3/4 of an edit of a chapter now. So we would have been further along. Now, I know that's being ridiculous because it's just silly, but these are little markers you go through the day now. It's like, what could I have done with that? So I'm not going to scroll social media all the time. We can lose hours to that nonsense. I call things time drains. They're all right at different stages of life, but when it's time to go, when it's time to move, it's like, let's move, let's do stuff. So yeah, I won't be distracted by the mundane. I will obviously enjoy myself in spades. I might go on YouTube, watch some videos when I'm settled down after I've done maybe 3 chapters, and there's no point exhausting ourselves to death. That's really important because your quality will diminish. So there's a balance. Anyway, don't want to ramble. I'm excited about getting this project done now, which is nice because before I put it off because I found it stressful and I really didn't want to go there. And now it's like, let's get this thing done. And it'd be nice in a few weeks if I can just have it in my hand, because it does take a while for the book to come. So even when I do it, I have to wait for copies to arrive. And only then, obviously, I can show it in front of people. So it'll probably take another week or so. And it has to be approved. So you submit the manuscript to the various distributions. So like the print is exclusive to Amazon. I did try somewhere else as well, but I couldn't bother to keep managing it. But at the moment, print is exclusive to Amazon, and the digital, such as ebooks, are more broader than that. So they were exclusive to Amazon, but I didn't see the point, because if Amazon ever act in a nefarious way or get cancelled by people, for instance, it affects my work. So it's like, wait a minute, we'll put it in different outlets. So if there's ever an issue with one outlet, people can still buy it somewhere else. So the physical copies will be Amazon, but distribution of the digital is wider. So places like Apple, Kobo, and all sorts of things. There's all sorts of different brands that distribute the thing. Audiobook at the moment, I didn't release my new one on any other platform apart from Audible. because I'm not sure that I don't feel I'm getting the royalties fair through the other ones. I'm thinking of delisting them. I'm not sure yet. I haven't decided. Because again, I want to give wider audience the opportunity. But at the moment, Audible, I think, pay more reasonable royalties. So Amazon are actually really good for authors, in my opinion. People have their criticism of any company, but I feel Amazon so far currently are good. But that the industry changes. So, like for instance, as they gain more of a monopoly, they may start to lower the royalties, and it could have dire consequences. That's why it's really important as a self-published author to keep your options open, be diverse, diversify your stuff. So give yourself options. So like if one market crashes, you're not affected so much. Thinking like that. So don't try to be too exclusive with places. For instance, if you're distributing through Amazon your ebooks, you can join Kindle Unlimited, where people can pay a subscription fee and you'll get royalties based off how many pages they read. So it gives you a chance to go more viral because people are already paying that. They can read it for free. It's not a hindrance to them. They're getting their money's worth. They're not investing anything beyond their subscription fee. And then you can get in the best-selling charts a lot easier. But you have to be exclusive to Amazon. So you're forgoing your rights to distribute freely. And I did that for a while and I just got really annoyed with it. I just thought they've got a monopoly on my work and I don't like that. Plus, if someone isn't using a Kindle, for instance, which I prefer Kindle myself. I like my Kindle. I love my Kindle. But other people got other devices they want to use. And if they don't want that, they can never read your ebook. And I'm like, that's not fair. I don't like that. I'd rather give people the options. So yeah, there's that. And with Audible, for instance, which is run by Amazon anyway, if you make it exclusive to Audible, I think it's 40% of royalties. I think it's 40% of royalties if you're exclusive and 25% if you're non-exclusive. So in the past, I did it exclusive, then I changed it to non-exclusive. So now I get less royalties for Audible, because I'm distributing these other places. But I don't feel the other places are really paying fair at the moment. So I'm thinking of going back to an exclusive deal with Audible, but it's a 7-year agreement, but you can get out of it. But these are little things. Again, this is the business side. Don't want to bore people with the business aspects of things. But there is a whole thing. You're gonna have to have some sort of like savvy with this, because otherwise you might get taken for granted or lost, and you might sign up to things you wish you didn't. There's a whole process that I might do another video later with things like that. I might do it when I'm distributing my book. It might be easier as I distribute it. Maybe I can share a little bit of the process. Might be helpful. I'm not sure. Anyway, hopefully it's been some help. It's been a lot longer than I thought. I literally thought I was going to come on for 3 minutes just to say, hey, guess what? I'm going to try and get this book done a lot quicker now. So keep your eye out. Instead, it's been a huge video. So I apologize if it's been too long. I'm not a short snippet person, I'm very much long form content. For good and bad, personally, I prefer long form content anyway. I just know people have short attention spans. If I'm on YouTube, for instance, I love a video I can just watch, because a lot of time when that video ends, I've got to find another content creator to watch, and it might be a content creator I enjoy watching, usually gaming or sports. But it's like I'm enjoying this, so I'd rather just sit and keep enjoying it. So then when I've got to jump onto another video of someone else's or something, I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to watch that. So I actually like to have something longer, and I just find it strange when people only want short form. Anyway, that's just my preference.